Hello everyone, and today we're going to go over the Ford Mustang GT. Now this is going to be the S550 series, which is going to be from 2015 to 2023. And this tutorial is just to go over a few key things and packages the GT is going to have. So if you're in the market and buying one, or you're just new to the Mustangs themselves and you just want to know a little bit more about them. So let's jump right in. And let's begin with the very basics. So the S550 Ford Mustang is the 6th generation Mustang, and it branches off to 4 different model types. You're going to have your V6, your EcoBoost, your Shelby, and the one we're going to be focusing on is the GT, which is probably one of the most sought after Mustangs because of the affordability and power. And as a full disclaimer, a majority of the information today is going to be obtained from these order guides, and I have them for all the years, and I'll put links for them in the description below. And every one of these go through great detail of what the Mustangs have between each year, and they even have a star to show you what changes between the years. So when you go through this, and again I'm just showing you a little example, you're going to see a star, let's see, yep, right there. So it shows that something changed between 2019 and 2020. So I have a 2020 guide right here, and that's what it's going to show you. So again, there's a star right there, and the engine change, for example, the EcoBoost. And then you're also going to see these numbers here, and we're going to go through that in great detail because those are very important. And as we go through the guide, it goes through all the little packages that can come with your Mustang. And these are basically little toppings to your burger in a sense, so the little extras. But we're not going to jump in the weeds quite yet, we're going to try to ease into it. So let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Now this is going to be a GT, which means it's going to come with a badass V8 engine. And there's going to be 2 generations. There's going to be a Gen 2 and a Gen 3 Coyote V8. For 2015 to 2017, you're going to have your Gen 2 Coyote, which has 435 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque. And then 2018 was a big milestone for the Mustang, and then you have your Gen 3 Coyote, which has 460 horsepower with 420 foot-pounds of torque. And of course it was offered as a stick shift and as an automatic transmission, which got upgraded in 2018, so it went from a 6-speed automatic transmission to a 10-speed. So now we're going to start working our way to the weeds. So the Mustang GT came with 2 different equipment groups. We're going to have our base group and our premium group. And those equipment groups are broken down to 2 different group numbers. So for our base, we have our standard base, which is 300 alpha, and then our high base, which is 301 alpha. And don't worry, we'll get into this a little bit more. And then on our premium side, same thing. It's 2 groups. We have our standard premium, 400 alpha, and then our high premium, 401 alpha. And you're probably thinking, why are these numbers important? Well, in the order guides, you're going to see these exact group numbers all over the order guides, and they show you what features come with those particular numbers. So by identifying your equipment group, in other words base or premium, and that particular group number, you're going to know what features it's going to have and all the bells and whistles, so you're going to know exactly what you're paying for. So the next question is, how do you identify what group number you have? Well, it's really simple. For starters, as we said earlier, we're going to have our base equipment group and our premium. And all you got to do is identify those by just looking at the seats. And looking at the interior of our base model, you're going to see we have cloth seats. And that's pretty much the easy no-brainer for the base model. For the premium, you're going to see leather. So that's pretty much the easiest way to distinguish between those 2 equipment groups. So once you look at the seats, you're going to see either see cloth or leather. Pretty simple. From there, we can dig in a little bit more and you can start looking at the radio. And for this Mustang, you can see the screen size is very small. This is your 4-inch screen, which means this is your 300 alpha, which is your standard base Mustang. And if we do a slight upgrade, we're going to have a nice beautiful 8-inch screen, but we're still going to maintain the cloth seats, which means this is going to be our 301 alpha, which is our high base model. So just like that, it's pretty easy to identify the group number for the base. Now let's go to the premium. And for this group, we're going to go ahead and start with the trunk. And if we look back here for the 401 alpha from 2015 to 2017, you're going to see a beautiful subwoofer. However, this wasn't available for the 400 alpha package. Now in 2018 and above, this is where it got really easy to identify which package you had for premium. You could look at this instrument cluster, and if you have this beautiful 12-inch one, 401 alpha package. Pretty simple. If it's 400 alpha, it's going to look like the plain Jane digital setup. Now let's go a little bit deeper in the weeds. The premium package, what are all the bells and whistles that come with this one? Well, for starters, we have nice heated mirrors, great for defrosting on those nice cold days. Next, we're going to have the My Color feature. Now this one is really cool because it allows you to customize the interior lighting of your car to pretty much any color you want. And this is really cool because, it makes the car your own. And it's pretty simple. We have a video on this that shows you how to set up each color and how to set up all the lighting in there. So overall, pretty cool, and it's really easy to use. Next, we're going to have a little projection pony on the ground. and it's going to be projected, yep, right under your mirror, so on your driver's side and passenger side. So when you open up the door, it's going to have a nice little pony light right there. Pretty cool. Next, we have our dual zone climate control, so you can adjust the temperature on the driver's side and the passenger side. So if you have a passenger who wants to go either colder or warmer, you can adjust it as necessary on whichever side you please. And also, to supplement that cool feature, you have something else that's involved with your leather seats. We have heated and cool seats. So when you press the heater, you have 3 different settings. Same thing with the cool, 3 different settings. And again, you can go to the passenger side and driver's side. And our last example feature is going to be the drive modes. And you can adjust the drive modes based on whatever conditions you want. So we had normal, sport, I just put it in track. You have drag mode. And then lastly, we have our wet and snow mode. So on those days you want to keep extra traction. And we have a video on this one as well, so if you want a little bit more detail. So I knew I threw a lot at you already, but let me see if I can simplify it just a little bit. So I broke it up into 4 categories based on those equipment groups and their group numbers. For your standard base, you're pretty much getting cloth seats, 4-inch radio, 4 wheels. For your high base, you're getting a bigger radio, cloth seats, my color, drive modes, and the actual dual zone climate control. And for our standard premium, our 400 Alpha, you're going to get that same radio, leather seats, my color, the selectable driver modes, the dual climate control, but also you're going to get the heated mirrors, a garage door opener, and pony projection lights. And for your high premium, your 401 Alpha package, you're getting the same thing as your standard premium, but you're also going to have that beautiful 12-inch digital gauge cluster. So anytime you change your driving modes, that cluster is going to change with it, which is a nice little cool feature, and it adds a little bit of sex appeal. So now that we covered the equipment groups, let's go over the freestanding packages and options. This is kind of like the toppings on your burger. And every one of these options are going to be listed in the order guides. And most of them are cosmetic, but there's a few performance ones mixed in. For example, our performance package, which I'll go to a little bit more detail later on. You have a few wheel package ones. And yep, you have your Magna Ride, which is a little bit performance based, which I'll go into a little later. But majority of these are cosmetic, which I'm not going to go in detail because if you look at it and like it, you're going to like it. You don't need me telling you that. But when you go order your car, you're going to have these packages available. For example, active valve exhaust. When you click on it, it's going to add it to the price of the vehicle. And obviously has a little description what the feature is. Now this was recorded some time ago, but I want to kind of give you the Reader's Digest version. So one of the equipment groups we just talked about is the active valve exhaust. So you could change your exhaust modes. So there's a butterfly valve on your tailpipe that basically changes the tone and how loud your exhaust is, which is a nice cool feature. And zoom in a little bit more, yep. So this is going to be the performance package, which again, I'll go in a little bit more detail later on. A popular option was the Ford Safe and Smart package. Now this provided collision detection as well as BLIS, which is blind spot detection. Now this changed throughout the year, so I'm not going to go in great detail. Next, we have your Magna Ride dampening system. Pretty good as far as stiffening up your suspension for performance. Not very popular, but still pretty cool. Now, of course, we have reversed assist. Pretty nice. And for our last example, we have our Pro Audio 12 speaker system, which comes with an awesome 8-inch subwoofer in the trunk, which sounds really good. And for every freestanding package and option, you're going to see a letter and a number designation as well as the name. So when you look through the order guides, you're going to see both of those. That's kind of a good thing, so if you find any of the old order material or the window sticker, it may help you determine what's going to be equipped on your Mustang. And as I mentioned earlier, I won't be able to go over all the packages, but I am going to go focus on probably the most highly demanded one of them all, which is going to be your performance package. This is the one that a lot of users want to have on their vehicle, but it's usually a little bit more pricier than they want to pay. And what's in the package? Well, the first thing is going to be beautiful wheels. You're going to notice the difference because the wheels are going to be different, and you're going to see nicer Brembo brakes on them. Next, you're going to see the gauge pack, which is going to be your oil pressure and boost gauge. Followed by your nice strut tower brace. This comes in silver, sometimes black. And of course, we got to keep your coolant cool, so it's going to come with a larger radiator. And lastly, you're going to notice a beautiful spoiler on the back. Now, this didn't really come about until 2018. Usually before that, they had a spoiler delete. But once that 2018 milestone hit, quite a few designs changed. And of course, I didn't go over every little thing on this list. Obviously, you can read it right here. But the other reason is, a lot of these you won't be able to spot just by looking at it. For example, the tuning of the car, you won't know by looking at it, but you'll know after driving it. Alright, now for our very last slide, I just want to go over the timeline, because there are some major milestones that happened with the S550 Mustang. So in 2015, the S550 Mustang was born.
And there was much rejoicing.
And for this year, it came with obviously our Gen 2 V8 engine, 400 horsepower, your 6-speed auto and manual transmission, big brakes, and 4 wheels. And for 2016, we had an awesome upgrade. The 8-inch screens were able to use Sync 3. So that means you can use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto when your phone is connected to it. And you can do this either direct connect or use a wireless adapter, which means you could use the app to go ahead and use it for navigation, such as Google Maps, or go ahead and listen to your MP3s with your phone. Next, we have 2017. Nothing really happened there, so we're kind of skipping over that year because the big milestone is 2018. This is when we went to the Gen 3 Coyote engine, which means we had a little more horsepower, a little more torque. And LMR provided a nice beautiful table to show the difference between Gen 2 and Gen 3. And you can see there's a lot more horsepower and torque between the two generations. Next, we have a 10-speed transmission now for the automatic. The 12-inch LCD cluster became available for the high premium. Heated steering wheel. The Sync Connect app became available, so now you can start your car as well as unlock it and track things on your car, such as the location. Then you had the Performance Package 2 added, which I'm not going to go into detail because they took it away. Quad exhaust tips, active valve exhaust, MagneRide options. A lot of things changed in 2018. Next, we have 2019, and the major thing that happened there is they added rev matching to the manual transmission. So as we're driving, anytime we downshift, it blips the throttle, in this case bursts it up, to match the engine speed. Makes it easier when shifting, makes it smoother, as well as it really keeps you from actually have to kind of jerk the gas a little bit just to match your engine speed up. It does it for you. It's really cool, plus it actually really helps with performance. It's nicer on the clutch. Next, we have 2020. Not really a big change there. Now, I will say probably from 2018 to 2023, a lot of things changed in the Safe and Smart package. That's where Bliss came in and out of the package. Sometimes it came with the vehicle, sometimes it came as part of a package. So it was kind of weird where that really landed. So I didn't really want to go into detail on that one for a reason because it really went random when it was included in the car and when it wasn't. And in 2021, they removed the Performance Package 2. There was 2 different ones, and the second one they removed it. So they took all the fun out of it. In 2022 and 2023, not really a big change. I guess they were just kind of waiting on for the S650. So with all this information provided, let me see if I can go on the internet and pull out a few Mustangs. That way we can kind of see what's what and kind of get a feel for what we're looking for and how to spot things. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into an example. So for the first one, I pulled up a 2015 Ford Mustang GT Premium. And that's pretty much what they said right off the bat. It's about $28,000 with 86,000 miles. Not too bad. But let's take a look at what we got. We'll start with the exterior first. So far it's a beautiful looking car. Nice blackout package. Man, it looks really nice, looks really clean. So right off the bat, I'm seeing a few things that are not typical. The first thing is we have our nice beautiful wheels here. These look like the Performance Package wheels. It looks like we have Brembo brakes there. Because if you look right here, you can see the dark brake calipers, and you can see almost red writing on them. So that's usually an indication that it's Brembo stamped on there. So that's kind of actually a good thing. So let's keep going. Next we have, looks like an aftermarket spoiler. That's not one of your typical spoilers. And since it is a 2015, we have your standard exhaust. We don't have the quad tips yet. They didn't come out. Overall, looks pretty clean, looks pretty nice. It looks like they just washed it. See a little water on it still. Alright, let's go to the interior. And looking at the interior, it looks actually really good. Looks really clean for a 2015. And obviously we have our leather seats, so that's usually a great indication. Yep, this is a premium model. And looking closely, yep, it is a manual, so it is a stick shift. We have our nice big screen here. And this is what makes it really interesting. Right here, we have our 2 gauges. That's our Performance Pack gauges. That's a great sign. So that's reinforcing the idea this is a Performance Pack model. So it looks like we have the Performance Pack wheels, the Performance Pack brakes, and it looks like we have the 2 gauges. That's an awesome sign. And it's purple right now because obviously they're taking advantage of the My Color feature. And also has selectable drive modes down here. So it looks pretty good. Let's see, overall, yep, looks pretty nice, pretty clean. So we know this is a 400A or 401A. We got to determine which one it is. So let's go ahead and go back to the gallery. And let's see. And looking in the trunk, yep, what do you know? Right here we have the 8-inch subwoofer. That tells me for this particular year, this is a 401 Alpha package. So this is like your high premium package for a 2015. And it's a performance package, so this is pretty much a very expensive car when it first came out. And overall, Not too bad of a deal, not too many miles, but pretty nice. Let's look up a note. So right now I have a 2019 Ford Mustang GT. Nice, beautiful silver color, same thing. Now this doesn't have the 360 view, but overall, really beautiful car. Performance package wheels right here. Now it doesn't mean it's a performance package right off the bat, but it's usually a quick indication like, all right, it's possible. All right, the front looks pretty good. Again, the side looks really nice. Looks like a very clean car. Now for later on in the years, 2018 up, this is the performance package spoiler. So that's also another indication. Now again, it doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be a performance package because you could buy these parts aftermarket, and these are the two common parts that are kind of swapped out when someone buys a vehicle. So far, a good indication. Looks pretty clean. Man, this thing looks like it's well taken care of. Very nice. All right, so the exterior looks really good. Let's go to the interior. And yep, looking at the interior. Yep, so we have our 2 gauges right here. So yep, this looks like it is a performance package model, so that's pretty good. And it's also an automatic. Now the thing to point out is we have cloth seats and we have a very tiny radio. This is pretty much your base of base models. This is like your 300 Alpha package. Even though it's a later year, this is pretty much as basic as you can get. Now it is basic, but it does have a performance package. So it's got a lot of performance, but not a lot of bells and whistles. So it's not going to have your heated mirrors, heated steering wheel, your heated seats, the bliss, the projector pony. A lot of the premium items you're not going to have. But overall, it looks pretty clean, not too bad. Looking at the back here, so yep, we have ourselves a 300 Alpha package that is performance pack. And looking at our engine, you can tell it's a V8, and it is our Gen 3 V8. The engine cover is the dead giveaway. When you see this particular typo, this flat one, that's Gen 3 and also by the year. Since it's 2018 plus, we have our Gen 3 Coyote, which is awesome. Nice, beautiful strut tower brace. Doesn't look like it's been really modified based on what I'm looking at it, so kind of a good thing. All right, now for our last example. This is kind of going to be the fun one. So we have a 2023 Ford Mustang GT Premium again. Nice, beautiful green, and this one's a convertible. So let's go ahead and go to the exterior. And again, we have some nice little performance package wheels here. It looks beautiful. And looking at the brakes there, they look like your standard brakes. I don't really see the little Brembo symbol on there. So, okay. But it's your performance pack wheel, so it's like, all right, what's going on here? Now, for the convertible, we're also missing the little lip or the little mini spoiler. So it looks like it either has a spoiler delete or it is a performance package. But I'm kind of hesitant to believe it's a performance package, but we'll go in a little further. Let's go to the interior. And looking at the interior, yep, it is a premium. We got our leather seats, automatic transmission. But looking right here, look what's missing. We're missing our gauges. So, unfortunately, it is not a performance package model, but it does have very nice wheels, so I like that. Now, this looks like, since it is a 2023, look at that. That instrument cluster right there, that is a 401 Alpha. So this one's got quite a few bells and whistles. It's got your heated steering wheel, your seat memory, and it's, obviously since it's premium, it's got your garage door opener. So this one right here is going to have a lot of bells and whistles, and it's a convertible. So this is a pretty good, nice weather car. It's very nice shape. And look in the back, looks really nice. Let's take a look at the trunk real quick. And obviously, like I said, looks really nice here. And looking in the trunk, look at that. So this also has the 12-speaker sound system. So it looks like they have the option for the upgraded sound system. So this is not only going to look good and have all the bells and whistles, but it's also going to sound really nice. But overall, it looks really good. And looking under the hood, yep, looks like they got a strut tower brace. Now again, this doesn't mean it's a performance package. It just means these are parts you could put aftermarket. These are pretty much the easiest parts you can put on. But I just want to keep in mind, just because some of these little features are on here doesn't mean it is a performance package model. It just means it has a few bells and whistles that looks pretty close. But overall, taking a look at this, very nice vehicle. It is not a performance package vehicle, but it is still a very beautiful premium car. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe.